In their prime, cell phones were roughly the size of a brick, weighing about 2 pounds and being 11 inches long. Look at cell phones now. Perfectly portable and easily put in your pocket. Even in their prime, people couldn't keep their hands off cell phones, and they definitely still can't now. But with the harmful effects that cell phones are creating on teenagers, is it about time we put the brakes on the amount of time spent on them? According to the Texting and Statistics website, texting and driving is one of the leading preventable causes of death. I have a personal experience with texting and driving. About a year ago, when I was driving home from the bank, I had my phone in my lap while driving. As someone texted me, the ringtone went off, and I glanced down at it just to see what it was. In the 1 second that it took me to look down at my phone, someone had pulled out in front of me, and because I wasn't paying attention, I didn't have time to stop. Texting and driving was the cause of my first accident. Overall, cell phones have detrimental effects to teenagers. They lessen social interaction, weaken conversation skills, and have devastating effects on overall health of teenagers. These are the 3 main points that I'm going to cover in my speech. The first point that I'm going to cover is that cell phones lessen social interaction and create harmful social interactions. According to the 11 Facts on Cyberbullying, an article on DoSomething.org, the Do Something website, a direct quote, over 80% of teens own a cell phone, making it the most common medium for cyberbullying, end quote. And the next quote that I'm going to tell you directly explains why. 81% of young people think it's easier to bully someone online rather than in person. And we all observe this. It's easier to confront someone behind a screen than in person. This is why social interactions and cell phones don't mix well. The second upsetting fact that I'm going to explain on why cell phones have devastating effects on teenagers is because they weaken conversation skills. A direct quote that Martha had made in her article on bigstory.org is that from a 13-year-old girl, that she explains that cell phones are not a means to, they don't talk about anything important when texting. They, meaning most teenagers, but in fact just use texting as a way to get in touch with one another. And this is observed also if you ever go in a cafeteria or a library where you see groups of kids talking to each other and not necessarily talking but just sitting together, and you'll see everyone just texting on their phone instead of turning to one another and just saying, hey, what's up? You'll see them text on their phone instead. Additionally, from a Susanna Kelly's article that I found about texting and Twitter contributing to students' poor grammar, is that she found that 30% of Ontario Waterloo's university students could not pass an exam testing their English language skills. Additionally, 1 out of 10 students at Simon Fraser University could not take the necessary writing courses needed for graduation because they didn't know proper English skills. Susanna Kelly had observed common butchered words such as cuz, spelled C-U-Z, a lot with the words a and lot put together in defiantly in place of the word definitely. She's observing this as well as parents in their kids' writing. Text lingo is becoming a popular form of writing. The final point that I'm going to make about why texting and driving is detrimental to teenagers is because it affects overall health. There are both minor and major effects that cell phones have on health. This is a picture that cell phones have that show what minor effects cell phones have on health. Some of these effects include irritability, cognitive impairment, impaired moral judgment, hallucinations, symptoms like ADHD, a compromised immune system, risk of diabetes and obesity, and many other uncomfortable symptoms. Some of the major effects include epileptic seizures and the big question of whether cancer is a problem. And Mr. Dell'Orto wrote an article on CNN's website explaining that cell phones can in fact cause cancer. He also says that even though it may take decades for symptoms to occur, why wait until it's too late to prevent something that has a preventable cause? Finally, the last thing that everyone has been waiting for is the texting and driving effects of cell phones on teenagers. From the Texting and Statistics website that I mentioned earlier, I pulled several facts. As I said, texting and driving is the leading preventable cause of death. Additionally, in 2011, 23% of auto accidents, which explains my accident, was caused because of texting and driving. This means that texting and driving makes an accident 23 times more likely to occur. Additionally, students, not just students, but teenagers in general, who text while drive, spend 10% of their time outside of their lane, which is why more accidents have been occurring. The next picture is showing different percentages and statistics on how more likely it is for an accident to occur because of an electronic device. Talking on the phone in a small vehicle makes it 1.3 times more likely to occur, and simply reaching for a phone in a small vehicle is 1.4 times higher. All of these increase for heavy vehicles, where reaching is 6.7 times higher, and the big killer, text messaging, is 23.2 times, makes an accident 23.2 times more likely to occur. All in all, it's hard to deny the facts. Cell phones have devastating effects on teenagers, both mentally and physically, because of the harmful social interactions, the horrible conversation skills that come from them, and the overall effects that they have on our health. Cell phone use is only going to increase in the future, and it's said to be increasing just in this next year 45%. What's to say, how can we determine what's going to happen then?